move on to Evil Dead from 2013, which is a remake or reboot, whatever you want to call it, of the beloved original movie. So 5 young adults head to a remote cabin for an intervention of sorts and discover a book which awakens a demonic presence in the nearby woods. So for me personally, I saw this one at the theater when it came out. I actually had to go to somewhere, like my usual theater weren't playing this. In fact, there was a whole thing I remember in Australia that this movie was coming out, and originally it wasn't getting a theatrical release here, which is kind of surprising because it ended up being a fairly popular movie, at least for that year, and is obviously a remake of a fairly classic horror movie as well. So there's a lot of petitions and everyone blowing up about how this movie had to have a theatrical release. Eventually, they did show it at some of the smaller theaters, so I did catch it there. I enjoyed it well enough. I'm actually not a huge fan of the original. I think it's only okay at best. Like, I'd probably give the original like a 6 out of 10. I haven't seen it in a while, but that's based on the last time I saw it. And so I do enjoy this one a little bit more. Obviously, there's a lot more gruesome stuff going on in this one that's really gory. There's a lot of blood splatter to be found later on in the movie. I think the one thing where it could have done a little bit better is go into more about the actual book. We get to see a few bits and pieces, and they say, okay, this is happening, and this is in the book, yada yada yada. And I'm not someone who actually cares too much about the story of a movie. Like, I don't read books or anything. I don't need great detail, but this is one of those rare exceptions where I feel like I could have enjoyed the movie even more if I had some more story to it, at least in regards to the book itself.
Yeah, so much like you, I'm not a giant fan of the original Evil Dead. No, I actually do think it's better than this one, but I think both movies, at least from my perspective, are below average. That said, I do like a few things about this one. The whole sort of changing it to an intervention to help this girl from going back to drugs, I thought it was interesting. Gives sort of an extra, I guess, emotional element to it. Because think about how unlucky it is. Day one, she's trying to do detox, boom, then she gets possessed by a demon. That's some sucky life right there. But I thought it was interesting. It was interesting. I really liked the design of the book. I thought that whole prop was such a cool looking book. And I do wish they had more backstory into it. That flashback that opens the movie didn't really do it for me. And I don't know, it just I do think the goal here is pretty good. There's some pretty painful looking scenes. So I don't really have like the ending is literally raining blood, which it looked cool. And it really gives the feeling of this epic fight between, I guess, quote unquote good and evil, when she's going against the abomination. So I definitely enjoyed aspects of the movie. It's just I've never been a big fan of the whole possessing type thing. The Exorcist, I just don't care that much about the whole subgenre. Which is partially why I don't necessarily really like the original Evil Dead either. But I thought this movie, I think you'll enjoy it if you're just going into this one just for a movie to enjoy. But I don't think it's a whole lot more than what you would probably expect it to be.
Yeah, I know in the last couple of years there's a new cut of this movie, or there's a version with just a little extra few bits and pieces, like an unrated extended type cut. I haven't personally seen it yet. It has been out on Blu-ray, I think, for at least maybe 2 years, roughly, give or take. Have you come across that?
So, I've only seen this movie just this one time. and I'm pretty sure I just have the I guess the US theatrical version.
Yeah, I can't recall if because I mean when a movie comes out on Blu-ray, sometimes it's it does come out with more scenes or extended scenes, and I can't remember if the Blu-ray for this one did that, but the one that I'm referencing from the last 2 years has even more. Yeah, like I don't know exactly what it had. I think maybe a few little bits and pieces, like the scene where she's got the tongue on the knife. I think that's a little longer, and maybe there's one or two extra dialogue type scenes. I don't think that it's anything major, but it won't change much of the movie really from what I've heard. But I guess if you're looking for as much as possible, that's probably the version to look for.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm suspecting that if maybe it's just like a couple minutes more of movie, I can't imagine it adds that much. And I think the goal that is in that, I guess, a quote-unquote normal movie is probably already sufficient for most people. I think, speaking of that, this is somewhat close to the end, where this, I think it was Mia, the main chick, she was sort of crammed behind, I think it was a cabinet type thing, and this entity is like sort of stabbing through it with, like, I think it was machete or something like that, and it just like sort of slices through her, like, I think it's kneecap and then her upper arm. And that scene itself wasn't particularly gory, but just talk about a painful looking imagery right there. It might not be as painful as slicing your face off, but
yeah, there's a lot of painful moments, a lot of blood, some gore. I think even some of the shots of the demonically possessed people, some of those scenes can be somewhat creepy. Obviously, the scenes where, Mia's sticking her head out from the basement or whatever you want to call it, those scenes are a little creepy, I guess. And even that one where the nerdy guy with the glasses, eventually he pops up out of nowhere and, he's kind of staring at you from the darkness. There's some scenes there that I thought were shot pretty well. But it does, even though I like seeing a lot of the gory action and stuff, sometimes it just feels like that's just overshadowing other parts that the movie could have had. Like I said, just learning more about what's going on, as opposed to just raining blood everywhere.
Yeah, some backstory would have been nice. Speaking of which, did you see... I mean, I personally think this was pretty much pointless, but did you happen to catch, like, the, I guess, quote-unquote after-credits scene?
I did eventually. When I was at the theaters, I didn't stick around for it, and in fact, I don't think I was aware of it. But then someone told me kind of later on, I was like, damn, I should have stuck around. To be honest, I kind of hate when movies do it, because I always feel pressured to leave the theater before the credits finish.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of feel like a bit of a weirdo for sitting there 3 minutes into the credits. Anyways, so eventually I did see it, and then I was kind of glad, because it's just like Bruce Campbell looking at the camera saying groovy or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I said, I think it's... I mean, I get why some people might be like, oh my god, it's Bruce Campbell, but it doesn't add a single thing to the movie.
Yeah, after I saw it, I was like, well, actually, now I'm not so bothered by missing out on seeing that part. Yeah, maybe it does something for people who are huge fans of the Evil Dead series, but for me, like I said, the original's not like a favorite of mine, so it really had no effect on me. Yeah.
And I guess one more positive thing I wanted to mention about this movie, and this might be more of a basic type thing, but I really did like the setting here. This is just abandoned cabin in the middle of nowhere. I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think this was filmed in New Zealand, and I don't know, I just sort of liked the sort of foresty environment around it. We never really saw that much of it. But I thought it added a little something to the movie. At least you could definitely see it was isolated. And since the movie only has maybe 6 people in it, I think it does well with the cast it brought to it.
Yeah, that one woman who was going on about how the treatment she's getting here is the same treatment she'd get in hospital. I don't know quite so much about that. I mean, why don't you just put her in hospital? I mean, at least then they'll probably stop her from escaping.
Yeah, I had to say, that scene when she was like sort of standing under like that stupid hot shower, that looked a bit painful.
Yeah. She got so offended when she was mistaken for a doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so not a huge fan of the original, so I did enjoy this a little bit more than that. I still don't think it's great, but it certainly has enough action to be entertaining enough. Lot of blood, lot of guts, some creepy shots here and there. Yeah, I had a decent time with this one, so I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, and like I said, I think I enjoy the original just a bit more, and a lot of that comes from the fact that even though I don't necessarily like the story of the original, I really do like the atmosphere of the original. And I think it's mostly due to the fact that it's an 80s movie and this movie's from 2013. There's just no way it can compete insofar as atmosphere is concerned. So, I mean, I enjoyed quite a few elements of this movie, but overall, I'm not a giant fan of the story, and as much as I enjoyed some of the stuff here, I did find it sort of a below average experience. So I think a 6 out of 10. I think it's pretty fair.
You know, one thing that I will say is, and I haven't researched, I haven't looked around for this, so maybe it does exist, but I'm very surprised if they haven't made like a porno spoof of this movie. Call it something like Evil Head, or Swallow something. Something that isn't their soul. It's there. It's there. At least that idea. There's something there, isn't there?
Well, unfortunately, oh god, there's a movie called Evil Hard. I just happened to look up Evil Dad porno spoof. And I'm looking at pictures right now, and yeah, there's a demon fucking some guy. Yeah, so
So wait, there is one called Evil Head, is there?
Yeah, I know. Yes, with a guy named Tommy Pistol in it. So that's probably a lot of the pictures that I'm seeing, because it looks like it's the same women on the DVD cover. So if you like Evil Dad, but you want a little more bang for your buck, check out Evil Hard.
So I just opened up a page now, which I think is actually trying to play that actual movie, but okay, okay, I just saw the beginning of a scene, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop this. It looks really ridiculous. But I just wanted to say that I had no idea that there was a movie called Evil Head, and my suggestion, obviously someone has the similar mind to me.
Oh, hey, this woman's having sex with a tree. I'm sorry. I'll say the one interesting thing about Evil Hard is it looks like it came out a year before this movie did. So, that's somewhat, I guess, interesting.
Maybe it was the inspiration for this remake.
That must be it.